Hello, welcome to the Circus Hub's class Juggling and Manipulation for April 24. So we're building on some things, all getting better. Hopefully, you got a lot of time to juggle at the moment. You're really making the most of it. So let's have a quick look at the plan for today. So I wanted to do some multiplex madness. Now, this is great, I think, for beginners and intermediate. If you haven't tried multiplexes before, they're great. That just means throwing more than one ball at the same time, so throwing multiple balls. And then for intermediate jugglers, we're going to have a look at some drills for your 5 balls with 4 balls. Then we will have a look at some contact juggling, some rolls, and then we will have a look at some one club tricks if there's anyone out there with some juggling clubs or you've got a wooden spoon or anything you want to play with. But first, let's just warm up a little bit. I know I haven't been super active today, so going to let's gently roll out our neck to start with. One side to the other, and then hold that stretch and you can push your hand down towards the ground, and the other side. Right, and let's roll our shoulders back, and we can try hands on our shoulders, rolling our elbows back, and then making sure you're not going to hit anything. You can do some full arm circles. Oof. Quite warm today actually, so luckily I've got the double circus hub. Oh, by the way, did you know you can order singlets and hoodies from the hub? So you can look into ordering some sweet merch when we get back into the swing of everything. Talking of swinging, let's swing those arms forwards. And we'll do hands on shoulders, roll those elbows forwards. And then just rolling your shoulders forwards. And let's give you a tricky one. Let's see, can you roll one shoulder forwards and the other shoulder backwards? And in reverse, backwards, forwards. Oh. Alright. Let's try some from the elbow. Do some circles from the elbows. And reverse. And just hold your hands together. We'll do some little wrist warm-ups. This is actually good. Can you make a right angle? I think this wrist is my bung wrist. I broke this wrist, so this one it's a bit harder for me to get those nice lines. Okay, cool. So, first step, get 2 balls. If you can have different coloured balls, that will make it a bit easier for you to be able to tell which ball is which in the air. So we're going to be looking at some multiplexes. So total beginners can try this. If you haven't tried multiplexes before, they're great for intermediate as well. So 2 balls. We're going to hold them side by side, and we're going to throw them at the same time. So for our first multiplex, I'm going to try and keep my wrist quite straight and try and throw them up together. We want them to split off like that. So I want the inside ball to travel across to the other hand. So, okay, so I want you to have a little play with this. Try and throw them to, I want you to play with seeing how much you can get them to split. So if they stay quite close together, but if I really try and push them wider, I can get it a bit wider. make sure you practice this on both sides. So I want you to just take the next couple of minutes to practice this. So just a reminder, the outside ball goes straight up, comes back to the same hand. The inside ball travels across. And you can have a play with this. See if you can get them to, they should sort of go to the same height to start with, but see if you can get them to split unevenly as well. Just see if you can get a bit of control on that. There's just certain things that having one ball higher, one ball low will be useful for with our multiplexes. So just give that a bit more practice. Both sides. Try and really throw about eye height, just above the eyeballs, and try and really wait for the balls to come down to your hands. Okay, so one ball to each hand on both sides. Cool, and remember, if you are watching this not live, you can always just pause this, practice that until that's feeling good. But so that's our first multiplex, a straight split. Okay, I'm going to show you 3 multiplexes today. So our second one, I'm going to call a rainbow multiplex, because what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and get the outside ball to make a nice arc like a rainbow over to the other hand. So that's the outside ball, the ball on my outside. The ball on my inside is going to come back to that same hand. So I'm going to want them to split like that. Transfer to the other hand. So, demonstration. On the other side. So the inside ball is just doing a little throw, and it's really focusing on just throwing that outside ball. Try and get the height for that. Let the other ball, it'll just do a little throw when you throw it. So the key difference between this and our straight multiplex is the straight multiplex, you want to try and keep your wrist quite straight, throw it straight up. This one, we're actively flicking our wrist. So I'm flicking that over the top. So as I move my arm up, give it that little flick across to the other side. So I want you to practice this one a bit, a couple of minutes of just trying to get this throw. And this time I think this one works better with a bit of a height difference. So try and really get that outside ball to travel nice and high. Try and get that split. So there's 2 different things that I'll talk about with the height. There's the height that you're actually throwing the balls at, and the difference in height. So that's the split difference. So with this one, just trying to get a nice split. So one ball can go quite a bit higher, sort of like this one's coming around here, and then that green ball's going right over the top. So that's our rainbow multiplex. Alright, everyone, just shake that off now. So we've got our straight multiplex, we've got our straight throw, we've got our rainbow, and then the third one that I want you to try is same hand multiplex. So this time, instead of holding the balls side by side, I'm going to hold one in front of the other. Okay? And I'm going to give it a bit of a flick up. So this one, the blue ball, the one closer to my wrist, is going to do a lower throw, while the green one is going to go higher. Okay? So you want to really try and get a good difference in height for this. And because we're trying to catch two balls in one hand, that's where I think that I find that split and difference makes it a lot easier. Is you can catch the ball and then you got time to catch the other one. Now you'll see how I'm catching these balls. We've talked about this before, but always when you're trying to catch two balls in one hand, what I like to do is I catch it and then I hold it with my little finger and my ring finger, and I've got this little claw free to catch that. So if you're struggling to catch both balls, you can practice this a bit, just throwing that second ball and catching it in there. But otherwise, we're trying to get that straight multiplex split on both sides. So just take a couple of minutes of doing this straight up into the same hand. So really thinking about just giving that a little flick, try and see how high you can get that top ball. See if you can get a really nice split difference in the height of those. And just a bonus one that I just thought about, if you want to try, is the same straight up one, but instead try and catch it in the other hand. Okay, so now I just want to give you a chance before we introduce any more complexity to have a little play with these multiplex throws. So I want you to take a couple of minutes to just practice them if you want, or if you're feeling good with it, we can try and see if you can do these multiplex throws in combination with some of the other throws you might know. So you could try under the leg, and you could try different variations of each throw with this, but so you can do under the other leg, bounce off there, and it could be back to the same hand, both balls, or you could split them, or you could do behind the backs, under the leg, yeah, under the arms is a really good one. Pretty straightforward with that one. So yeah, just have a little play, explore. I'm just going to do the same thing, see if I can, what I find easy. I find that one almost with the behind the back, you can always remember there's always behind the back, or like over the shoulder, or under the arm is another little different version. Ooh, under the leg and catch one under the leg. Oh, you can't see that very well. Let's see if I can. Okay. Cool. So let's now take that multiplex and see. Yeah, if you're just starting out, this first time doing multiplexes, that's cool. Just play with those, see if you can get them solid. Come back, check this out when you're ready to try and introduce third ball in, okay? So what I want you to try first is you're going to throw the single ball first, then the multiplex, and I just want you to catch all the balls. So you're going to end up with two balls back in the same hand that threw the multiplex, but one of them is going to be the other one. So I'm going to throw this first. While it's in the air, throw this. Catch like that, okay? So, single throw first, multiplex, boom, okay? And make sure you practice that on both sides. Oh, sorry, just go into automatic there. So he's going to throw the single ball, multiplex. Catch the multiplex in both hands. Okay? And practice that on the other side. Single throw, multiplex. Single throw, multiplex. Other side. Single throw, multiplex. Single throw, multiplex. Cool. So that's step number 1. Then step number 2 will be trying to send that first ball back as soon as you catch it, back to the other hand. So practice that is just throw the ball, throw it back. Throw the ball, throw it back. Because what we're going to try and get is you're going to do your single ball throw, your multiplex throw, then catch the single throw and throw that back. So you're going to end up catching ending up with 2 balls in the opposite hand than what you started with. This maybe sounds a little bit overly complicated, so I'll demonstrate and then try and explain it again. So, single throw, multiplex, and I catch the single throw, I catch the blue ball, throw it back straight away, okay? So the difference is here we were just catching the multiplex in that hand. What I want you to try and do is send that single ball back before you catch the multiplex. Send it back. And then this way, you'll swap hands for your multiplex. And you can keep this going. So just practicing it with the stop until you're getting all the throws to work. And then eventually you're trying to get this to lead to this little pattern that you can just keep your multiplex throws going. There's always a couple of single throws, single, 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 yeah, single. Okay, and that was doing that pattern. I was doing straight split, but you can do this with your rainbow split as well. Okay, and you could then just keep that going. Okay, so there's a little pattern for you guys to play with your multiplexes, and just have an explore. Try and find some new stuff. I'll show you some other things I've been working on with the multiplex is trying to do it with the box throw. So doing them straight up multiplex underneath, zip in and out, the straight up multiplex with the single throw, and I've been working on that to try and get a 5-ball version going on. So it still needs a bit of work, but it's coming along. Cool. Take a little break, shake out. We'll leave the multiplexes there for a little bit, so definitely feel free to practice those multiplexes. Take some video and show me if you want. You can post them up. Hashtag them on Instagram with Circus Hub Community, and then if we see them, I can check them out and give you some feedback for that. So, having a look at next on our plan for today, I want to have a look at some drills for those of you who are wanting to work on your 5 balls. So last week I did some 3-ball throws, 3-ball patterns for your 5 balls. So this week I wanted to carry that on with some 4-ball patterns. So just a note, for me personally, I find it hard to do my 4-ball practice and my 4-ball for 5-ball drills at the same time, so I normally separate those out. So next week I'll have a look at some more 4-ball juggling and 4-ball patterns, but this week we're just going to have a look at some 4-ball patterns for your 5 balls, okay? So first one, nice and simple, is just going to be a 4-ball flash of 5-ball throws. So remember that your 5-ball pattern, instead of being this high, we're going to want it a bit higher. So let's put that up. So we want to get our 5-ball pattern up over our head. So our 4-ball flash is we're just going to try and do those 4 throws. So just try and get all 4 throws out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now this will normally be easier for you if you've already warmed up your juggling or you got practiced your 5-ball throws. So remember, just trying to get that the flash with 3 balls. So just 5-ball throws at a 5-ball speed. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So then, if you can get that, it's just bringing in a 4th ball. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. So them hitting each other is a common thing that will happen. So what you want to think about for that is you're going to try and keep these 2 distinct points for your throw. So your right hand's always throwing across to here. Your left hand's throwing across to here. If these 2 points come too close together, that's when you start getting your balls hitting against each other. Now with this, I'd also recommend working really hard to make sure you can start from either hand. So right hand first, and then left hand first, right hand first, left hand first. Another thing to look out for is a lot of people get this habit when they're trying to start 5 balls, which makes it a bit harder for them, is we tend to, because we've got all these extra balls, we've got all this extra energy, we go, and we throw that first ball super high. Well, not super high, but a bit higher than our 5-ball pattern. But what that means is you then have to tidy up your pattern once you've started. So it is better to try and aim for these 4 throws to be really identical. Same throw, same energy, same timing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, another thing you can do to have a look at your accuracy is what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my 4 throws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and not catch them. I'm going to let them hit the ground and see how close to my feet they land, because that's what you want. Is if you miss the balls, they should be coming in pretty close. Okay. Oh, I'll do that again. I can tell if that landed on screen. Okay, cool. So I can see, especially from my first lot of those, the balls were landing a bit too far away from me. So I'm throwing forwards a little bit. I'm having to lean forward. So I have to really concentrate on keeping my posture back. Let's have a little look at posture, because that's when you start working on your numbers. Posture is really important, because how you're holding yourself is going to affect your juggling pattern. And the higher you throw, the more those little differences in posture will affect that. So you want to make sure you've got a nice posture, you're standing up straight, chest in. You don't want to be slouching. And you want to keep your elbows in. This is when if you're reaching forwards, the balls are going to keep going forward. So you can also have a play here, and this is a lot easier when you're working on these drills than when you're actually trying to also juggle 5 balls, is think about where you're putting the weight into your feet. So have you got it in your toes? Have a go at that. So lean into your toes and do your 4 throws. Then have a look at with your weight further back into your heels. What feels more comfortable? I think that probably a lot of people have a tendency to lean forwards, so I'd say coming back a little bit could make a bit of a difference to your juggling. Okay, so, but that's the first drill. I want to give you a couple more. So there's 4 ball flash. The next one is just kind of a continuation of that. You're going to do 6 throws. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, gap. That's where the 5th ball would go. Then 5, 6. So make sure there will be that little gap. And what this drill is really good for is getting you to start practicing returning throws. So getting your flash, your 5 ball flash is really important to getting your 5 balls. But you need to be able to also know that you can catch a ball and throw it back up to that 5 spot. So once your 4 balls is really tidy, there's no point trying this if you're leaning, catching all the way over here. You want it to be nice and tidy. Then send 2 balls back up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Ooh, that's a little messy. As soon as I start counting, it gets harder. So make sure you use these drills as a chance to really think about your breathing. Really try and get into your body, focus on what you're doing. A lot of the time we'll hold our breath when we're focusing on something. We go. When your brain starts running out of oxygen, juggling isn't that easy. So make sure you're breathing naturally. I recommend starting your juggling on an out breath rather than the in breath, because I think you go juggle, hold. So if you do the opposite, that you take a deep breath in and then juggle, you can breathe out, and then it'll just sort of kick you into the habit of breathing while juggling. So same things, trying to get that accuracy, trying to get those 2 that second lot of throws, so throws 5 and 6, really try and get them back up there. Okay, so that's drill number 2. Now, like I said, good ways of controlling your training. One that I would do for this is I would do about 5 minutes of each drill. So, if you've got 4 drills, 4 or 5 drills, 25 minutes of prep, and then work on my 5 balls. But yeah, you could do it if you listen to music when you're training. You could do a new song for each one, song 3 to 5 minutes long, give you heaps of time to practice. But or you could just have set time limits. You can do number of catches. Some people, you could do each drill to 500 catches. Then you've got to kind of keep track of how many catches you've done in your training session, but it can be a really good way to keep you on track. But yeah, one more 4-ball drill that I want to show you is similar to last week. We were doing a 2-ball snake. So just a recap. The 2 balls in one hand, and we're going to do 1, 2, 1, 2. Just trying to get that 5-ball pattern. There's 5-ball throws. There's 2 balls are just following each other. So the extension of that, well, you can try that with 3 snake. But one that I think is really good practice for your 5 balls is start with 3 balls in one hand, 1 ball in the other. You're going to do just 2 throws. 2 throws from your right hand. 1, 2. Then 2 throws from your left hand. 1, 2. Right hand. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Now don't actually move your body like that. That's just for explaining it. But yeah, so I'll give you a show. Oh. Okay, got to get those throws accurate. Right, right. So I can't tell how well that was showing up, but this drill is really cool. I like it because it lets you get 2 throws in a row from the same hand to really focus on replicating that motion with your hands, that it's the same throw for both of them. As opposed to when we do our flash, we go right, left, or left, right. That's both hands. This time you can really go one hand at a time. You can really focus on that hand movement and that accuracy. So you can really focus on hitting that same spot. Now, I feel like I definitely go a bit higher with this pattern. Another good thing about this pattern is it does allow you to, it slows it down, it gives you a lot of time to try and make those corrections. If your throws are going out, try and really think about your posture. Bring your weight back over your feet. Breathing. Keep your core sucked in, shoulders back. Juggle, juggle, juggle. Juggle! Alright, we are half an hour in, so let's just take a quick little water break just to give everyone a chance for their brain to have a little break as well. Get some water, have a look at something different, just a lot of concentration goes into this, so we really got to make sure that we're not overdoing our brain so we can focus on something else. And we're going to move on to some contact. So if you've got your contact orange or a contact juggling ball or just a round juggling ball, will do. Contact rolls. I just wanted to have a look at some, with contact juggling. One of the there's sort of stalls, isolations, rolls are sort of 3 of the main areas. So I wanted to have a look at rolls. So last week, I believe we were trying to roll to our arm here. But we're going to just go for almost a simpler roll. We're just going to try and roll it down our arm and catch it on the... I want you to try and catch it on the inside of your arm to start with, okay? So, because if it keeps rolling off your arm that way, it's really hard to catch, especially when you're starting. I don't want you to smash things, hit things, or just drop your ball repeatedly. So we're just going to try and roll it down our arm. So, do you remember our cradle? We just drop our middle finger a little bit, rest that on there. Now, I'm going to then lift my hand up, give it a nice little ramp to roll down, and I want to just try and let it roll off onto the inside. So we're just lifting our hand up until it rolls. See if you can control that. Now, there's two ways that I think you can really think about these rolls, two different ways of doing this. I'm going to show you both, and because I feel like it's almost a combination of the two that you want to use. So, what I want us to try now is we want to try and keep this ball in that same place almost, and we're going to try and move our arm under it. So, we're going to try and keep that ball almost in the same place, and your arm is like a little escalator rolling under it, just to show you guys as well. Now, I should also be practicing this on the other side, because that's eventually, you want to be able to do this on both sides. So yeah, so this one is just trying to really roll through under it. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a case of the drops, but of course, I mean, you're not juggling if you're not dropping, are you? You can't worry about that stuff. So cool. So technique 1, travelator. Technique 2 is just trying to use gravity. So really trying to just lift that hand and let it roll down. And then compared to the escalator one, go. So if you're getting this pretty consistent, then the next step is we're going to try and roll it. Instead of off the inside of our arm, we're going to try and roll a little bit further all the way down and let it drop off the end of our elbow. So lifting, just a straight lift, compared to zooming it across. Then, eventually, what this, if you're comfortable catching this on the back of your hand, then you can lead this to roll. This is one that I haven't actually practiced for a while, so I should just take my own advice. Practice catching it on my hand, and then so that's a quick introduction to contact rolls onto the just down a straight arm. And then another really popular roll, and this is, if you've got a bigger ball, is a good thing to be able to practice this with, is your chest roll. Okay, so if you have got I would suggest if you've got a bigger ball, that's going to be a bit easier to start with, or a piece of fruit, something that's not going to smash things. But yeah, let's have a little look at this. So, starting on the back of the hand, and then my stance, I want you to start with one foot in front of the other. So, my arm that the ball's on, that is a little bit forward. So, what that's going to give you is just that ability to transfer your weight forwards and back, which is quite important when you're starting this out. So, and then when we're working on our chest rolls, I want you to really just work on half of it at a time. So the first half is on the arm, onto the chest, and then just catch it. Now, a really key piece of advice that I got given for this trick when I started it was, if I have my hand flat like this, when you get to my shoulder, there's a bit of a corner here. But if I turn my hand this way, So from flat, I turn my thumb down. That can really help smooth this corner out. So that's what you want to try and get to start with. I'm going to start with the ball here. To get it moving, I'm going to rock my weight back to roll onto here. Then I'm going to turn, once it's moved down my forearm, I'm going to turn my hand this way so that will round out the corner of my chest. So I rock back, let it roll, turn my hand. So I want you to really focus on that nice corner up here. Try and make sure that feels smooth. And so remember, we're moving our weight back. So you can either start this with a little push or just lift that hand up and move back. So I think this looks nicer if you can keep a nice round. You don't want to straighten your arm or anything as it comes down there, but I guess that becomes a bit of personal choice. So that's the first half. Then the second half is rolling it onto your chest, onto your arm, to your hand. Now, this, because we're starting with that corner here, I'm going to start with my hand turned as it's rolling onto my upper arm. I will bring that down. So, the awkward thing with this one is giving it a little push, getting it started. So I'm going to start with it on the back of my other hand so I can push onto here. So the first one, we're starting with our weight forward, moving back. Here, we're going to start with our weight back and move forwards. So seeing if you can push it round, start with your hand turned, unturn under it. Okay, this is the trickier one, so I'll show you why. So that's using a bigger ball. This is a smaller ball. Now the smaller objects have a lot more time to roll. It's a lot, so you've got a lot more time to stuff it up. So you've got to be a bit more careful. And then once that's working nicely, you could try that with your contact ball if you have one. Before you try and bring it together. Not quite as tidy as I'd like. Oh, actually, I found changing my foot position, swapping it around, actually helped me a bit with that. So it's great with a basketball, soccer ball. You can really start to link that together. Or, yeah, with the contact ball, then, of course, if you're going to be a diligent juggler, make sure you can send it back the other way. This is one that I probably haven't worked enough on. No, I'm going to make that my little mission for this afternoon. Do a bit more work on starting my left hand. So those are some contact rolls. There's a whole world of contact rolls for you to play with out there. There's just two sort of variations to start with. So take another little water break. Okay, now all you cool jugglers, I'm gonna have a look at just some. I don't know who's got a juggling clubs, but if you've got one, we'll do some manipulation. If you don't have a juggling club, maybe you can try some of this stuff with a wooden spoon. Your success will depend on the quality of your wooden spoon. So let's go with one from a friend of mine, Zach Washer. Can bring the club up over your head. Now, when you do this as well, you've got to step across. Boom. So my right leg is going across in front of my left leg. Club is going to come from my right hand over my head, so it's pointing straight down. Let go and catch. So over the back of the head, pointing straight down. Drop and catch with the wooden spoon. Boom. This one is a bit tricky to start with. So I'd say don't bend down too far. It's really about trying to get this club to have a nice straight line. If it's up here, if it's going to get like pushed off your body, it's going to be harder to catch, go further away from you. So you're trying to get that nice line straight down so you can just let go and catch. So other one club tricks, thumb spin. So if you can find generally about the tape mark on your club, you're going to give the club a push with kind of the butt of your thumb and then try and recatch it. So you just want it to spin round. So you want to try and keep this nice and flat, like a helicopter propeller spin. Just flat spin, flat spin. Then, once you've got the hang of that, see if you can do 2 in a row. And then you can kind of just keep adding to it. So it's all about keeping it nice and flat, giving it a good push, and flattening your fingers so you can just do a nice, easy spin. No problemos. And and then let's just try some isolations, actually. So we're going to try a isolation let's just have a play with swinging the club from each end. So start with it in the middle. Try and keep this hand in the same place, and it swings back up to where it started. And let's just have a little practice throw for those of you who have juggling clubs but can't juggle them yet. Let's start. Just have a look at 45-degree angle to your body. You're going to bring the club down and throw 45 degrees. So it starts here, comes down, 45 degree here. Let go, 1 rotation. Now when you're doing this, you want to keep your chest facing forward. Don't turn too much with the club. Then you want to think about where you're throwing the club from. So, going to start by just throwing it from holding it in the middle. And if you can do that, see if you can throw it from the end of the club. And I want you to just see what kind of difference that makes to your throws. Ideally, the difference should be, if you're throwing from the end rather than the middle, is you'll get a slower rotation. So you might have to throw it a bit higher. But if you throw it from the middle, it's going to spin faster and lower, which is going to be harder for you if you're trying to juggle 3 clubs. So letting it come down to that end can really allow you to get a nice slow rotation. So I think I'm going to wrap up juggling for today. So I want to thank all of you who've been watching this. I really hope you're actually sticking with some juggling and really making some progress. I'd love to see some people come out of quarantine, rocking some 5 balls, or even just getting a nice 3-ball pattern and being able to play with a couple of tricks with that. So if you are been working on your juggling, please let me know. Chuck up some videos. You can just send them to us up at the Circus Hub, or on Instagram, tag Circus Hub Community. Go check out some of our other classes. You should be working on your flexibility, your fitness, and we've got classes for kids, teens, and families. So that should cover basically everyone. If it doesn't, let us know what you would want to see. What skills do you want? I hope you're enjoying the classes. Check out the Circus Hub website. Thanks for watching. Gone a little bit crazy in this lockdown, but I'm sure you're all in a similar place. So stay strong. Kia kaha. Circus Hub. We'll be back to normal classes after the lockdown. So please, in the meantime, keep checking out our online classes. And thanks for watching. I'm Michael, and you guys rock.